Something is happening in Antarctica, something so shocking that the U.S. government has locked down entire regions of the frozen continent. It all started when a retired naval flight engineer, known only as Brian, revealed a terrifying discovery: a glowing, perfectly circular hole in the ice. His aircraft systems failed the moment he got too close, and when he returned to base, shadowy officials were waiting to silence him. But Brian couldn't forget what he saw, and neither should we. What secrets are buried beneath the ice? And why are world powers so desperate to keep them hidden? In January 2015, an investigative reporter named Linda Moulton Howe received an email that would change everything. The sender, a retired U.S. naval flight engineer who asked to be referred to only as Brian, had a story so shocking, so unbelievable, that it threatened to unravel the very fabric of what we think we know about our world. What he revealed was a tale of mystery, secrecy, and a chilling discovery in the frozen wasteland of Antarctica. A discovery so profound that the U.S. government immediately locked down the entire continent. This is the story of what Brian saw, why it was hidden, and why the world's most powerful nation is desperate to keep it buried. The Frozen Wasteland, a land of secrets. Antarctica, the coldest, driest, and most isolated continent on Earth, has long been a place of mystery. Covered in ice miles thick, it is a land of extremes, where temperatures can plummet to negative 128.6 degrees Fahrenheit, and winds can reach speeds of over 200 miles per hour. It is a place where few humans venture, and even fewer return with answers. But beneath its icy surface lies a secret so profound that it could rewrite history, challenge our understanding of science, and perhaps even alter the course of humanity itself. For decades, whispers of strange occurrences in Antarctica have circulated among scientists, military personnel, and conspiracy theorists. Stories of unexplained phenomena, bizarre radio transmissions, and even sightings of unidentified objects have fueled speculation that something extraordinary lies hidden beneath the ice. And then, in the late 1980s, Brian saw it for himself. A team of scientists and engineers have landed in Antarctica to test a drone that will help experts forecast the impacts of climate change. The autonomous plane will map areas of the continent that have been out of bounds to researchers. It has been put to the test in extreme weather around Wales' highest peaks. Its first experiment will survey the mountains under an ice sheet to predict how quickly the ice could melt and feed into global sea level rise. Scientists want to understand Antarctica better, but they are limited by the existing technology. Strong winds, below freezing temperatures, and sudden storms are common. These dangerous conditions, as well as dark winters and the need to transport pilots and large amounts of fuel, put limitations on use of traditional crewed planes. The British Antarctic Survey developed the new drone with UK company Wind Racers to be easily repaired if something goes wrong. The drone was tested in Llanbedr, Eryri, also called Snowdonia, in North Wales, a stand-in for the difficult weather and terrain of Antarctica. During a practice run in strong winds with rain lashing the airfield, engineer Rebecca Toomey explained that the drone can fly to remote areas without concerns for pilot safety. The discovery: a glowing hole in the ice. Brian spent years flying over Antarctica as a naval flight engineer, logging thousands of hours in the air. But one particular mission in the late 1980s would change his life forever. As his aircraft soared over the frozen landscape, he noticed something unusual: a massive, perfectly circular hole in the ice. The hole was enormous, at least a mile in diameter, and it glowed with an eerie blue light. It was as if something had carved it with incredible precision, revealing a cavernous space beneath the surface. But before Brian could get a closer look, something strange happened. Every system on the aircraft began to malfunction. The navigation systems went dead, the communication equipment scrambled, and the plane itself struggled to stay in the air. The crew had no choice but to pull away and head back to base. When they landed, they were met by men in dark suits, men who didn't ask questions, but demanded answers. Every record of their flight was confiscated, and Brian was given a clear warning: never speak of what you saw. But Brian couldn't forget. The image of that glowing hole haunted him, and he began to notice other strange things happening in Antarctica. Scientists were disappearing, research stations were abandoned without explanation, and every time something unusual occurred, shadowy military operations seemed to arrive before anyone could ask questions. The vanishing scientists and bizarre radio transmissions. Brian's discovery was just the beginning. Over the years, he began to piece together a chilling pattern of events. Scientists who had been working in Antarctica were vanishing without a trace. Research stations were being abandoned overnight, with no explanation given. And then there were the radio transmissions. Deep beneath the ice, strange signals were being picked up, signals in unknown languages, broadcasting messages that no one could decipher. These transmissions often preceded the disappearances, as if they were a warning, or perhaps a lure. One of the most terrifying moments Brian experienced occurred while flying near a remote research site. His co-pilot spotted something unusual, a smooth, white, oval-shaped craft floating silently past their cockpit. It was huge, at least 100 feet across, and moved like nothing they had ever seen before. Brian did what any trained officer would do. He reported it. But that was a mistake. High-ranking officials arrived at his base and ordered him to retract his report. When he refused, the threats began. If he valued his career and his life, he would keep his mouth shut. The distress signal and the glowing cavern. Brian's most chilling discovery came when he picked up a faint distress signal coming from deep within an ice shelf. Following the signal, he and his crew came across another massive hole in the ice, this one glowing with an eerie blue light. It was perfectly round, as if something had carved it with incredible precision. But as they approached, every system on their aircraft went dead. No power, no controls, nothing. They were sitting ducks stranded in the freezing air. Just when it seemed like they would be lost forever, the backup systems kicked in, allowing them to pull away. But before they left, Brian saw something that chilled him to his core. Dark shapes moving inside the hole. Something, or someone, was down there. The cover-up, a desperate attempt to silence the truth. Brian sent out a coded message about the mysterious hole, and within hours, an entire military operation was deployed to the site. What they did there, no one knows. But Brian was taken in for questioning by a team that included members of a secretive government agency. Their message was clear. If he valued his life, he would forget everything he saw. But Brian couldn't forget. He began to dig deeper, uncovering a long history of strange occurrences in Antarctica. Unusual deaths, missing researchers, and a trail of classified operations that went back decades. It became clear that something was buried beneath the ice, something that powerful forces were determined to keep hidden. The whispers of an ancient civilization journalist, Linda Moulton Howe, wasn't about to let this story die. She gathered every shred of evidence she could, tracking down others who had witnessed strange events in Antarctica. Her research uncovered even more disturbing details. Advanced aircraft seen moving in and out of secret bases, underwater objects traveling at impossible speeds, and satellite images of structures that shouldn't exist. It became clear that Antarctica wasn't just a frozen wasteland. It was a battleground for knowledge. Governments were fighting to keep something buried, and those who got too close paid the price. There are whispers that the reason for all this secrecy has to do with something not of this earth. Could there be an ancient civilization buried under the ice? Are there advanced technologies hidden away, capable of changing life as we know it? And if so, who really controls Antarctica? The truth is getting harder to hide. One thing is certain: those in power are terrified of what could be revealed. They'll do whatever it takes to keep the world in the dark. But as more people step forward with their own accounts, the truth is getting harder to hide. It's up to us to keep asking questions, to keep searching for answers. The frozen continent may be silent, but its secrets are screaming to be heard. What's really down there? And why is the world's most powerful nation so desperate to keep it locked away? Not everything stays buried forever. The legacy of Admiral Byrd, a parallel mystery. Brian's story eerily echoes the claims of another famous figure, Admiral Richard Byrd, the celebrated American polar explorer. In 1947, Byrd led a secret naval expedition to Antarctica, during which he claimed to have discovered a massive entrance to a hidden underground world. According to Byrd, he descended for miles over ice-free lands teeming with mountains, forests, and even gigantic animals. But he was forced to turn back by threatening disc-shaped aircraft. When Byrd returned to the U.S., his account was quickly suppressed, and he was placed under psychiatric observation before retracting his story. The parallels between Byrd's experience and Brian's are impossible to ignore. Both men saw things they weren't supposed to see, and both were silenced by powerful forces determined to keep the truth hidden. The future of Antarctica: a battle for control. Today, Antarctica remains a place of mystery and intrigue. As space agencies plan bases over Earth's southern pole, the question of what or who already lives there becomes more pressing. The truth, whether frightening or amazing, weighs heavily on those who have seen it. But as more people come forward, the cracks in the enforced secrecy are beginning to widen. The truth about Antarctica is getting harder to hide, and the world is starting to ask questions. What lies beneath the ice? And why are the world's most powerful governments so desperate to keep it hidden? The answers may change everything we think we know about our world and our place in it. The call to action: seek the truth. As revelations about Antarctica's secrets emerge, our focus should be on seeking wisdom rather than succumbing to fear. It's time to prioritize facts over suppression or denial, even if it means grappling with unsettling truths that may reshape human history as we understand it. The frozen continent may be silent, but its secrets are screaming to be heard. What's really down there? And why is the world's most powerful nation so desperate to keep it locked away? Not everything stays buried forever. What do you think lies beneath the ice of Antarctica? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating stories.